What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today I wanted to discuss, as you can see in front of you, One Punch Man. More importantly, the recent volumes as opposed to the volumes early on. Although I did enjoy One Punch Man at the start, I thought it was more just a comedy and satire series with no direction in terms of its plot. I just thought that it was fun to pick up a volume here and there and read it, but not really much was happening story-wise, and it wasn't really that enjoyable in terms of its narrative. But in recent volumes, it's definitely surprised me in that sense, where the story has really captured me and interested me a lot more than I expected it to. So I just wanted to kind of discuss recent events in the manga. So yeah, like I said, in the first kind of 7 volumes leading up to that Boris fight, where obviously he fought and he didn't kill him in one punch, it was just kind of events were happening, but it didn't really seem like everything connected together, and it wasn't. Not everything kind of correlated well, in my opinion. Although I still enjoyed the series and it was funny, and it for what it was really good, and it's definitely complemented by the amazing art in the series. Um, I just didn't enjoy it for its story that much. But that definitely changed in and around volumes 9, 10 region. Probably through 8 and half of 9, I kind of thought, oh, maybe this series does have no direction, and I wasn't really enjoying it that much, and I was considering dropping it for a bit and just kind of letting some volumes come out, uh, and just have a bit more of a backlog on it, or just give it some time, see if it gets any better. But I did decide to read on for a few volumes, and I really did enjoy the direction that it took and where it went. So yeah, first I'll talk about the two kind of problems I have with the series. They're not really problems that are major and not really within the series itself. But the first problem I have is the release schedule for the volumes. They release 3 or 4 months apart, so that only gives you about 3 or 4 volumes a year, and they're very quick reads because there's very action heavy, not too much dialogue in them, so they're very quick to get through. Uh, and that kind of goes along with my next problem, which is the bonus chapters. And although they're interesting and they're funny and they complement the series, it's kind of annoying when you're in the middle of a really important story arc, and instead of using the last chapters to continue that, they're kind of used for bonus stuff. It just kind of feels like you're not really getting your worth for the volume. And although the content might be really good, even in the bonus chapters, it's just I prefer to just get story, especially in the recent volumes, which have been really really good. So I kind of like linking with the fact that they only release every 3 or 4 months. I want to get as much content as possible within the volumes. So if they release quicker, maybe every other month, I wouldn't mind as much about the bonus chapters. But I think that space could be used to tell more of the story, especially with its release schedule. But other than that, that's kind of the only two problems I really have with the series. And also to touch on season 2 of the anime, I thought it was alright. Obviously, it's never going to be what season 1 was. The animation was alright. The last episode definitely had the best animation for the whole series, and the punch I thought was actually done really well. So I was very surprised by that. But the season as a whole was alright, not great, and I definitely say that the manga is superior. And I'm kind of happy that season 2 was done by a different studio, because if it was done by the same studio, it would be hard to choose between the manga and the anime, because what the significance of the anime in terms of anime in general, like the quality of the animation was very big for anime, and I think that the manga is equally as influential for shonen. Like the drawings and the art in the manga is equally as significant for shonen manga, because it's some of the best art just generally in manga, and for that to come from a shonen, it's quite big and good. And I think Doctor Stone similar to that with Boichi's art as well. But that's just to touch on the anime. It wasn't terrible, but definitely some work could be done in a few details, like some character designs I wasn't really fond of. But other than that, I don't think it was terrible. But the manga is definitely the superior form. So yeah, like I said, the volumes I'll be talking about, it's just these ones here, 8 through 9, or 8 through 16, sorry. They're all really good volumes, and just the story definitely picks up. Especially this latest one. This is where the anime basically leaves off at the end of the season. There's a bit more content after this volume, which was animated in the final episode, but it's loosely where it leaves off. I just kind of like the sense of direction. Like I said before, I didn't really feel there was a sense of direction before this new arc, and I think that's all of this because of the introduction of a specific character, and that is Garo. I thought that Garo has kind of tied the arc together. And when he was first introduced in the when they called all the villains to the hideout, I just kind of thought he's going to be another generic villain which Saitama fights and isn't able to kill him in one punch, making for a pretty cool final fight. But I do think that Garo is actually a lot more in depth than that. His character means a lot more to the series than just an average villain. He is slowly becoming probably my favourite manga villain because I just really like the direction that his character's been taken, and he has definitely brought this arc. He's definitely brought up the quality of this arc because he's basically stole the show throughout. I think he's been the most interesting character through the arc, and he's kind of been involved in a lot of the events that happen. Even throughout the tournament that he wasn't involved in, he was still referenced for being the guy that wore the wolf mask in the previous tournament. So he's around and he's about, and he kind of ties everything together. He ties the martial arts, the Monster Society, all of them kind of center through him, and I think that's important and a good way to tie up an arc, something that I didn't really see previously in the series. So Garo, definitely a standout character, the best character in the arc and the most interesting. You can kind of see a humane side to him when he talks to the kid, and when you see a bit of his backstory and stuff, which was more explored in the anime. I feel like it will come in volume 17 a bit more, but the anime did explore his backstory a bit, and if it's taken from the manga, which I believe it is, then it's nice to kind of see more of what made him who he is now, and how he's gone from just someone so weak to one of the more powerful characters in the show and the manga. And I do believe that his confrontations with Saitama were well handled, because like you can kind of see how he's levels behind him right now, but I feel like he's the character that's going to build himself up and be here for a while until he reaches that level where he's strong enough to face Saitama. And I think the way that it can be put is when Saitama fought Boris at the end of season 1 or in volume 7, it was kind of like two immovable objects fighting, but what Garo could be is he could be an unstoppable force as opposed to an immovable object. He could learn tactics and techniques through his martial arts that counter Saitama, and obviously through the tournament we saw that that's very difficult, as Saitama fought a bunch of martial artists but easily stumped the tournament. So I believe that eventually Garo will learn tactics and techniques to beat Saitama, and that might be through him becoming a monster or however the events unfold. Obviously I'm not sure about that because the arc hasn't completely wrapped up and concluded yet, but I feel like this arc in particular is going to be one that goes on for a long time. It's always going to be in the background. I don't think it's going to be a very simple arc as to where it's just a start and a finish, because a lot of different things have happened in this arc. It started in volume 8 and it's still going now 8 volumes later, which is quite long for a manga arc, and it's had loads of different kind of portions to it. You had the Blizzard bit at the beginning and King, and then it goes to the Martial Association attacking, as well as the martial arts tournament, and then a lot more focus on Garo towards the end. But I do think, like I said, a lot of it is centered around the character of Garo. He definitely makes the arc what it is. It also allows for characters like Bang and Genos, who've previously been introduced, to kind of shine and come back in and do their thing, and I think that's quite cool. It allows characters that are fan favorites throughout the series to kind of come back and be in fights. And I also like the brand new characters that are being introduced. at first I wasn't really a fan of how King was handled, but I kind of like it now. It offers a comedic element which is famous throughout the series, and it's just enjoyable to watch him and Saitama play games. So I do think that, although at first I wasn't a fan, I did like the King storyline. I also like the introduction of Blizzard as well, and I also really enjoyed uh, a focus on probably my favorite character in the series, other than Gaara now, and that is Metal Bat. I was very happy that he had his little involvement and his fight as well. That was really cool to see. And I'm also interested in the Monster Association and King Orichi, I believe it is, because I think that they're kind of shrouded in mystery, and a lot of what they do and how they're acting and stuff is their plan hasn't completely been unveiled and stuff, and I think that's quite interesting. There's a lot more to go there, and obviously at the end of the season we saw Gaara being taken to Orichi, so I think that that's going to offer a nice confrontation there, because I'm interested to see that. But yeah, I think we get a good progression for the characters. Even Saitama himself, who previously he's trying to find a way and a reason for being a hero, because he's lost his motivation. Even he is trying to find it through martial arts, and just through talking to King and getting motivation off King as well. So we do see a lot of that, and even I think it's important for even a character like Saitama to have some sort of progression in his series. And you kind of see progression throughout all the characters, and just everything generally about the story is good. Yeah, I think that's all I really want to touch on. I also really enjoyed the martial arts tournament. I didn't actually think that One Punch Man would be able to be a series that could handle a tournament, because it would be very cut and dry as to who would win. But the way it was handled was nice. I enjoyed seeing some martial arts, something a bit different in the series as well. And all the characters introduced now are also cool as well, and I'd like to see them return. And the kind of divide between martial arts and heroes was quite cool to see. Another nice little element that they've added. So yeah, that is basically everything I want to talk about One Punch Man. The Geekstone, another fellow manga tuber, also made a video talking about One Punch Man. So obviously go check that out. I'll link his channel in the description below. It's a great video, so go check it out. Hopefully we'll be getting some more One Punch Man soon, because I need my fill of it. The fantastic art that it offers through its coherent and great fights are amazing, so I just want to see some more Gaara and some more One Punches basically. And it's definitely kept its charm in its characters and its comedy throughout the series, and that's nice to see as well, that what made it popular in the first place hasn't gone, and it's still there, but it's kind of added on top of that with a narrative and a plot and a forward driving story, which is something that I thought was missing, which now that it has makes it a very complete story, and I just hope it continues in this direction. So the only two questions I really have now is what's going on with Metal Knight, and what happened to Genesis' parents as well, because those are two interesting things that I have, questions that I have, and also how strong is Demon King Orichi, because he does seem like he'll be unleashing some shit later on in the series. So those are kind of questions I want answered reasonably soon. But other than that, I keep saying I'm going to end the video, and then I just keep rambling on. But hopefully you enjoy this video. If you want to talk about One Punch Man, obviously leave a comment leave a comment basically. So yeah, other than that, have a great day and peace.